What's up, everybody? You're back in here with the Pro Football Pod. You've got Hulk, you've got Coach. We're hanging out with you guys. Hit that subscribe button down below if you're new to the channel here. 500 subscribers, we're giving away a free jersey to one of you lucky viewers. Every 500 subscriber benchmark, we're going to give away a free jersey. We hope to give out 20 jerseys this year. That would be incredible. Like, I'd be down for that. I know Coach is down for that. So go ahead, tell your friends. Today, we're going to go ahead and preview for you guys our thoughts on the potential 2024-2025 season NFL award style.
We did do this last year.
We did, and we were not correct on one single prediction.
Not at all, but we are going to do better this year. 100% accuracy going forward. That's what we promise. At least from my side. I don't know what you picked, but...
Hey, at this point, it is 100% accurate.
Yeah.
So hey, at ProFootball_pod on the Twitter machine, go check that out. At TulsyRose.com, that's the sponsor. Go check them out for all your tea and tea accessory needs. If you live in the Burnsville area, the ice cream, it's pretty good. So check that out, guys. Let's go ahead and dive into it. Who do you have for your offensive player of the year?
So last year, Christian McCaffrey won it, and he totally stole it from Tyreek. And I don't think that Tyreek's got a chance this year. I think that the Dolphins are more going to go for winning an actual Super Bowl than trying to get him 2,000 yards. But I don't think that the Cowboys have any choice but to just give the ball to CeeDee Lamb over and over and over and over again. So I think CeeDee Lamb takes it, like, pretty easily. I don't think that there's another non-quarterback that's going to be able to get as fed as he's going to be.
Disclaimer, we did not go over our list before we went into this episode. So that shockingly, I also have CeeDee Lamb for the exact same reasons. I do think Tyreek's going to, take a little bit of a step back. Like you said, they're not going to force feed him. I don't see it coming from Justin Jefferson. I don't really see Christian doing it back-to-back years. I have CeeDee, but I did make an honorable mention on a few of these guys, and my other guy I could see potentially doing it would be Breece Hall.
Okay.
For the reasons as to why Christian won it last year is why I could see Breece winning it this year.
Okay.
But I've got CeeDee. He was my main guy he's going to be a 200 target guy this year.
Exactly. 135 was his most receptions he ever had last year. I think he passes that easily. I think that he starts knocking on the door of Michael Thomas, straight up.
Yeah, I would not be shocked. So, defensive player of the year, I'll give you this one first. I've got a little bit of a wild card on this one. I've got Max Crosby.
Okay.
I think the trajectory for this guy has just been doing this, and he's becoming a bigger name in the league. I love how the guy just has that I don't give a fuck attitude. Mm-hmm. And he's just out there, appreciating the opportunity, making the absolute most of it. And I mean, the dude is just an animal, not to mention now he has Christian Wilkins there to help take some of the pressure off of him on that defensive line. And so that's just going to free up more one-on-one opportunities with him.
I love his motor. The dude he just doesn't ever stop or give up on a play. I still don't think that he's as good of a pass rusher as Nick Bosa, and I think that we could potentially see a 20-sack year.
We are in an election year.
Yeah.
We are in an election year with Trump running, so Bosa, that might be a solid bet there. I like that.
Yeah. I took Nick Bosa last year. You guys all took Micah Parsons, and none of us were right. But I think that this is Nick Bosa's year. I think that he's absolutely the best defensive player in football, as just a pass rusher. He can do more as a pass rusher than everybody else. I think Myles Garrett's probably the only one that's close, and he's just another year older. I think that Bosa's got it in the bag.
Yeah, like I said, I would not be shocked at all to see Bosa win it. For Max Crosby, it's just the NFL loves stories. And love storylines, and for me, the next step for him is just defensive player of the year and just go ahead and put your stamp on it. So I would love to see Max Crosby win. He'd light up a stogie right there with the award. Like that'd be incredible. So who's your offensive rookie of the year?
Jaden Daniels. And I went back and forth between the first overall pick and the second overall pick. And honestly, Caleb Williams is in a better scenario. And I think that that's part of what's going to hurt him. I think if Jaden Daniels does close to what Caleb Williams does in passing and he's able to outrush him, that he would become offensive rookie of the year.
I agree. Like you said, which it's dumb because it was the argument against certain guys like Joe Burrow and Tua coming out of college to where you're almost hindered by the guys you play with because it's not hard enough.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's stupid, but the way you put it makes absolute sense to where if Jaden is able to do anything close to Caleb in the passing ranks, and we know what he's going to give you rushing wise, and if he's able to just slide and not take those unnecessary hits and stay healthy, to me, I think he would deserve it more because he is working with less.
Like last year, Anthony Richardson would have absolutely won Offensive Rookie of the Year if he stayed on the same trajectory that he was in the first 3 games. Like it wouldn't have been 100%. Close.
It would have been locked up by week 10.
Yeah. So I think that for those reasons, he has the best opportunity.
So Defensive Rookie of the Year, I've got Terrion Arnold.
Okay.
And the reason I've got Terrion Arnold is the main thing for me last year for the Detroit Lions was their pass defense.
Yeah.
They got in too many shootouts, and Dan Campbell being the risk taker that he is, which I love. I love that he's willing to go for it on 4th down almost every time. Like, I love that. But with that, you've got to limit the amount of shootouts. So I think he has the chance, Terrion Arnold has the chance to stand out the most, because if he does come in and make that first round corner type of impact for them, he's going to stand out.
Yeah.
Because they've helped their DB core a little bit, but I mean, he could absolutely be a star for them. And Defensive Rookie of the Year is very hard I went back and forth on like 3 or 4 dudes.
Yeah. I was really close to selecting Cooper DeJean for a very similar reason. Like, if he can transform the Philadelphia pass defense and make them an actual unit and make it to where they're not like this joke where if someone's playing against Philly, you start all the wide receivers. Then I think he would have a chance. But I ended up going with Laiatu Latu for the Colts. I think that he'll be a starter basically right away. I think that he's an absolute beast of a defensive end, and he's going to hit the ground running hard. Him and DeForest Buckner creates a 1-2 punch that Aiden Hutchinson didn't really have coming into the league, and he was able to have the type of impact that he did with Detroit. I think we see a very similar type of season with Latu. I just think that he does better. I think that he gets way more pressure, way more often, and just like is able to turn over games for the Colts.
Hey, like he's, I believe last time I looked, he was the betting favorite for Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Nice.
But like you said, I wouldn't be shocked. Us as Dolphins fans, during the draft process, we just kept comparing him to Jalen Phillips because, I mean, they wore the same number at UCLA. Like, they just looked the same. So, Coach of the Year, who you got on that one?
Well, I might have picked this guy last year and thought that he got a little bit, I think Mike McDaniels has totally changed the Dolphins. Back-to-back playoff appearances in his first 2 seasons. Offensive guru, turned their running game from being like a bottom 25 unit to like the best unit last year, and then still didn't win. I think that if he wins a playoff game and is able to like take those steps that we've already seen him taking in the preseason as a coach, making the right calls on challenges and 4th downs and those types of things, I think that he has a great opportunity of Coach of the Year.
See, I don't even think it's winning a playoff game for him, because generally I think it's just the regular season they take into effect anyways. For me, it's the fact of what lost him that award last year was going 1-5 versus teams over 500.
And those
Could
final
not
stretch
you
of games.
that. So like you get that turned around this year. I could absolutely see it. That was the one thing against you was, oh, hold on. Let's wait on that praise. Same thing with Tua and all the MVP talks.
Yeah.
Like, all right, hold on. Let's put a stop to that. And then it just all went away, which rightfully so. So I would love for that to happen. My pick was Jim Harbaugh. I think if he comes in and he can get the Chargers to the playoffs and just make them second in the division. I mean, we all assume the Chiefs, you're rocking exactly. The Chiefs jersey. We all assume it. But if he can push them for the AFC West in his first season coming back into the NFL after being gone for 6-7 years, and then yeah, I think he's just going to be the favorite as far as like, oh, okay, well, yeah, it's Jim Harbaugh. Like, let's give him the award.
I think another one would be the Panthers. Like, if the Panthers turn it around completely,
Dave Canellis,
I think, has an opportunity at it. I think that it is likely going to be someone in their first few years as a coach. Last year, Stefanski won it because of the Browns being able to win with Joe Flacco and just like the way that they ended the season. But I think that's the big part. It's finished strong. You win Coach of the Year. So I really think that of all these awards, the only Dolphin that could potentially win one of them this year is Mike McDaniels. I think the other ones are all going to be locked up by other teams. So we'll see.
Comeback player of the year. Who you got?
So there's a couple of good options. I don't think that the Falcons really have enough of competition for Kirk to be able to get it. So I went Joe Burrow. I think that Burrow, they were, back-to-back AFC championship games and went to the Super Bowl with him playing a full season. He's touted as potentially the best passer of the football in the league right now. And if he comes out with this pass attack that they're going to be doing, where they're a pass-first offense, and he puts up the stats of 5,500 yards and 45 touchdowns, I think there's a big chance that he gets comeback player of the year, even if he doesn't get in the conversation of MVP.
Okay, yeah, I could absolutely say it. It's generally going to be somebody who was a major player, took a major injury, and then, if they come back and ball, which we've all seen Burrow, if he stays healthy, which those injury concerns are starting to pop up more and more now for him. So let's hope he does stay healthy because it just makes the league more exciting. Mine was, it's kind of a boring pick, but it's also the most obvious to me, is Aaron Rodgers. Like, if he stays healthy and the Jets can make the playoffs and all of it's like, well, see what happens if they have competent quarterback play.
Yeah.
He's going to win the award. The guy went out after 4 snaps on national TV in front of everybody watching football.
Yeah.
And to me, he's almost a shoo-in. Like, as long as he plays the whole year, I don't even think it matters what he does. He's going to win the award. All right, so last one. If you're still here with us before we get to our MVP and Super Bowl predictions, go ahead, subscribe down below. Remember, tell your friends and family. 500, we're going to give away a free jersey to you. MVP, I've got Pat Mahomes. Like, it's boring, but where he didn't win it last year, I almost am considering it like the Michael Jordan LeBron effect, to where, well, let's not give it to him every year.
Yeah.
Which he didn't really deserve it last year. He did have an off year.
Very much so.
But with him having a better receiving cast this year, once Hollywood Brown gets healthy, he's got Xavier Worthy that we've talked about at length on this podcast, and you've got Rashee Rice, who is somehow avoiding a suspension.
No idea
which
how.
is just beyond me. Just have no idea how that's possible.
I mean, he didn't beat his wife, so I guess he's good. Whatever.
Well, yeah, whatever. I guess he just, possibly crippled somebody. But hey.
Yeah, that's fine.
Anyways, Pat Mahomes, I think it's one of those to where he's going to come back out this season, show you why, he's Pat Mahomes. And then it's going to be like, oh, yeah, okay, here's the MVP.
The only thing that you didn't say was that he's also behind a top 5 offensive line this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is the biggest factor for me. He's going to have the time to throw the ball deep to his two sub 4-3 receivers. And that's going to be all that it takes for him to be able to put up a massive amount of stats, to totally change the way that defenses have to play them. And I mean, his legs, I think he's going to run the ball more this year than he's ever run it before, because he's going to have the space to do so. Like, it's going to be very, very difficult to stop the Chiefs just from a general standpoint. So I'm also giving it to Pat Mahomes. That's why we're, rocking the jersey.
So if you had to give like a dark horse or like an honorable mention, who would you throw out there just really quick?
Joe Burrow. I think that Joe Burrow has a really good opportunity of it as well. Offensive line isn't as good, but receiving cast is somehow better. I think Jermaine Burton is super slept on right now as a wide receiver 3. Higgins is back. Chase is practicing right now, even though he hasn't been paid yet. And I mean, like, they're not going to have the run game to stand on. They're going to have him throw the ball 30 to 40 times a game. Like, that's what they're living for. So I think that Burrow could do it. I just think Pat's in a better situation and more clutch.
Okay. So Super Bowl teams. My Super Bowl matchup is I could absolutely see it happening, but I also really want to see this matchup, is the Texans versus the Lions.
Okay.
And the Texans, just the way they've brought in Joe Mixon, Stephon Diggs, if he can keep his head on right and not cause any turmoil in that locker room as well. To me, they're just primed to make a step up. And to where I think the AFC at this point is obviously the Chiefs are king.
Yeah.
But I think there's so many teams that are so like even with each other, but they're all high-end teams.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be just everybody throwing haymakers at each other throughout the season. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the Texans come out of that. And the Lions, to me, outside of the 49ers, the NFC is just begging somebody else to go to the Super Bowl this year. Like, maybe the Eagles, but I don't know. I think it's the year where Dan Campbell and the boys, they went one step before last year. I think they, Cody Rhodes this bitch and finished their story.
So I almost went with the Super Bowl rematch of the Chiefs and the Niners. But I think that I think that you're very right in that the Texans are much, much better. They're not only just going to make the playoffs this year, they're going to make it through the playoffs. They're going to win a couple playoff games. I just think it's going to be experience that holds them back. Playoff experience, having to potentially play in a place like Arrowhead if they don't win the first seed in the AFC Championship game is very difficult, especially whenever, CJ gets to play in a freaking dome the rest of the season. Half of his games are going to be in Houston at NRG. Like, he's not going to be used to playing in weather throughout December and January like Pat would be. So I think that if they both make it to the AFC Championship game, the Chiefs win. And then whenever it comes to Detroit, I think that they are the best on-paper team in the NFC. The NFC is a really weak division. The Eagles' offensive line got worse. The 49ers have Ayuk back right now, and he's likely going to stay with the team this year. But I just don't feel like they have enough. I think Christian McCaffrey he's only 28, 29. He's still going to be great. Debo is 28, 29. He's still going to be great. Ayuk's like 26 years old. He's going to be great. I just think that the Detroit Lions match up really well against the 49ers, and they're able to make it. And I think that Detroit pulls in their first Super Bowl victory ever this year.
I've got the Lions also winning over Houston in mind. So, hey, Detroit, we're here with you guys. We're here all the way. If you come back to this at the end of the season and you find out that we're correct and you placed a bet, you know, we're not telling you to, but if you did, hey, you know, we'll buy you a beer. How about that? Subscribe down below. Tell your friends, tell your homies. 500, we're giving away a free jersey to one of you lucky viewers. If you stayed to the end of this point, we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. TulsiRoseTea.com is the sponsor. At ProFootball_pod on Twitter. Peace out.